Do you need Spark as a data scientist? As in, to do your job and to get a job in data science, do you need Spark/PySpark? I'm going to answer this question by the end of the video, so please subscribe if you haven't, and watch it because it's not going to be confusing. It's just a casual chat. We do need to talk slightly about what Spark is, but in a non-technical manner. Think about if you're a data scientist, you are, say, a machine learning engineer, where we have this life cycle of get data, step 1, clean data, step 2, make some model, say a regression, so we'll just call it regression for now, make a regression, step 3, and step 4, productionize the model, say put it on Google Cloud or something like that. Okay, so get data, clean data, make model, put model in production. Pretty easy, makes sense. Now, what kind of data? Well, most of the time when we mean data, we mean structured data, as in we mean data from relational tables. So as in one row of data is a data point and one column is, an attribute of that data point. So maybe it's something like each row is a person and we have their age, their name, their location, that type of thing. Those are columns. All right, so now we know what the data looks like, but how the heck do we get that data? Well, from a project standpoint, most of the time, we're just gonna get some data set off of Kaggle, where it's like, okay, they have a data set set up already, we'll download that. Well, that's great for starting, step 2 and step 3 for cleaning and doing our model, except getting the data is much more difficult than that in an organization because they have so much and it's organized in this particular manner that's different for each company, but it's usually in a relational way. Okay, so one of the big reasons you're going to need Spark as a data scientist is to get your data. All right, it's pretty much only involved in step 1. You could argue step 2 for cleaning, but oftentimes you won't even have to. So step 1 is using Spark to get your data. And we need Spark because it's big data. When we mean big data, we mean it's so big that you need Spark is pretty much the definition. It's a very loose but accurate definition is we need Spark to, in parallel, do whatever it's doing on multiple computers. It's going to contact its cluster of machines, and you don't have to worry about this, but it's doing a lot of heavy lifting for us, and you need to know how to code in Spark so that you're going to get the data into that format that you expect from Kaggle. All right, so it's just at the end as a data scientist, you want data in a table, a single table that doesn't have too many columns, okay? Of course, they'll have a fair amount if you're doing a machine learning model, but it's not gonna be just like everything in the company wide. It's gonna be whatever you want. And so as a data scientist, most of the time, you're gonna be using the Spark Data Frames API, or at least just an SQL-like call to get your data rather than what Spark is often used for as well, which is if you're writing it in Scala as opposed to Python. So when I say PySpark, that means you're writing Spark-like code in Python. And when I just say like Spark code in general, it means like in any language. But as a data scientist, you're often writing it in PySpark. You like Python, and so you're just writing Python code to get your data, whereas you're probably not doing a lot of what Spark is capable of, which is in writing it in Scala, which is a faster way to write Spark code because it's native in that. Then a data engineer might write that to do like advanced analytics or to move data across the company. Except we don't really need that. It's all in a database for us. We just use Python code to grab that data, do a join, write whatever SQL code we want to get our data. All right, that's the main reason you would need Spark as a data scientist. Now, so do you need that to get a job? Well, yes and no, because I can share a personal story with you that yes, I did not need Spark. Okay, yes, I did need Spark on the job, but did I need to know it beforehand? No, I did not. Okay, I got a very good job as a data scientist without knowing Spark at all. And I learned it entirely on the job, and also I took a university course on the side that really talks about the theory and doing some more complex stuff with Spark. So it all kind of happened at once for me. And so I had jobs before that were, pretty good jobs, and a job that required Spark that I did not know beforehand, but did learn on the job. Okay, so I hope the takeaway still is not that you do not need Spark because Greg said that he didn't, even though the job required it. I extremely highly recommend that you do learn it, because all of those, those little things on the job information form or the requirements where it lists the base requirements and then it says like some additional requirements. All of that general stuff is super obvious and everyone knows these things. Everyone has it on the resume. No one got picked unless they do have Python and, a strong understanding of data and programming. Everyone knows that stuff. To get picked for a job, you not only need to beat everyone that got picked for or that applied, okay? So everyone of the 1,000 people that applied, you need to get picked, but above that, of the people that really stood out, you need to beat all of those people too. Unless you're in like pretty much every job, there's competition for them at every stage. And so you need to be better than them. To do that, Spark is a really, really good way to do that. I was better than the other people, and I hope I don't sound too cocky when saying this, but I was better than the other people because I had a unique background like statistics from the University of Waterloo, as well as, a lot of machine learning stuff on the side. So to get a data science job, most of the interview is going to be on knowing fundamentals. So knowing stuff like what is regression, interpreting the coefficients of regression, programming skills. Maybe you get asked like a Python question. Maybe you have to know linear algebra and statistics a little bit, and mostly data science theory. So again, the regression type stuff, or machine learning algorithms. Like if it's a classification job, you're going to need to know like how a neural network works, probably, maybe random forests, that type of thing. Fundamentals is huge in interviews, and that is the way to get through 90% of the interview and at least pass. But to get selected, you need to be better than all the other people that also answered well to those questions. And so a really, really good way to do that, whether the job says it or not, whether the interviewer knows it or not, or says it or not, is to say that you know Spark. Show that you understand how to get the data in the company, because the interviewer is going to assume that people don't know Spark because it is not needed unless you are in a big company, pretty much. And so unless you're already in a big company, then you probably didn't learn it at all. If you are the person that learned it on your own, and it doesn't even matter that you're not like that you're doing it and you don't really need it, you're just kind of doing it for the sake of learning it, that's totally fine. Like whatever project you can put on there about you showing that you know Spark, you did something in Spark, they are going to be so impressed by that, and it is going to lift you way, way above the other candidates if you can show that you know that stuff. And then make sure that you actually do if you claim to. You should be able to answer some technical questions on, like what is map, what is filter, the basics, maybe the data frames API a little bit, something like that. As long as you can talk pretty confidently about how this works, and maybe the concept of map reduce, which if you go into it, you'll learn shortly, then you're good to go. So I hope that made sense. If you're not subscribed, what the heck are you doing? Subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.